If you're working with a horse that has had a previously bad experience under certain conditions, you encounter those conditions again, that horse reacts a certain way and you push through, you are now in danger of re-traumatizing them and causing ongoing issues. And this danger is seen a lot. It's seen in float loading conditions, it's seen in spooking conditions, it's seen when horses refuse jumps and are pushed through or pushed through water objects, all sorts of things like that. So our fundamental task should be to avoid doing it. We want to avoid pushing them through. We want to avoid escalation. And so this is when positive reinforcement steps in. And if you are in a situation where your horse is demonstrating challenging behavior and you take that on board, you make that initial assumption that this could be a triggering experience for this horse, we need to step back. Now, I've already been sharing in my on my Patreon page with people about 3 tips to tackling challenging behavior that don't involve drilling down on the behavior itself. This is where we get caught up. We are so focused on trying to eliminate the problem behavior, we miss the big picture and we miss the opportunities to use the big picture to change what we're doing. So this is the beginning, this is the foundation stuff that we need to get right. If we're faced with that situation, for example, the horse not wanting to approach water or not wanting to approach a scary object, I would immediately consider that there was a previous association with that object or with that water that was not necessarily very good. So me pushing through is simply cementing that horse's reason for being scared. It's also undermining our relationship. It's also not conducive to calming the horse and for effective learning. They're going to learn all right, but they're not necessarily going to learn what we want them to learn. So I would be immediately stepping back. I would stop. I would be using my intelligence to say that something is not working and I need to reassess the situation. We don't like doing this because we confuse it with giving in, not being disciplined, being soft, being weak, all these emotive terms and this emotive feeling about the situation, when in reality is something's not working, we need to address it, stop, plan, go forward. Now, I see this in my work as a volunteer firefighter. We don't go in there and persist with anything without looking at the big picture. If we rock up to a situation and just go, oh, we need to fix this really quick, and we all pile out the truck with hoses and cutting material and just go hell for leather, we're more likely to add to the problem. We might escalate the issue. We might become part of the very problem itself. We zoom out. Well, we don't. Our officer does, looks at the big picture and says, hey, this is a plan going forward. Always, always useful to step outside, look at the big picture, and then go back in. I'll be catching up with you soon and talking about this in my next video.